Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases. They're coming out this Friday, June 2nd. There's about 500 albums coming out this week. I got 14 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you go check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist we put together every week, and also the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's about 500 albums coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 14 of them, though, so if there's something I don't talk about on the show today, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up this week. And like always, if you're unable to find any of the albums I talk about today in your local brick-and-mortar stores, they'll all be available online. Then I'll put links down below in the show description. You can pick all these up online. A couple of new releases coming out this week, probably none bigger than the new Foo Fighters album. But here we are. It's their 11th studio album. It's going to be on white vinyl. It's going to run you about $21. Of course, this is the first album since the tragic passing of their drummer, Taylor Hawkins. Josh Freese replaces him on drums. So I think it's going to give the band a little bit of a different sound than what you got when they had Taylor with them. Which Taylor, I think, Color and the Shape, he was like a guest drummer. I think he did a couple of tracks on the Color and the Shape. And then their third album, I think, is when Taylor became a full-time member of the band. So he's been with the band for a long time. But, I'm really looking forward to this album. I've not the biggest Foo Fighters fan. I've liked their last couple of albums. I like the first couple of albums. I think their albums are kind of hit or miss really for me, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting this one this week. I've already got this one on pre-order with my local store. And then another new album coming out this week. This is Ben Folds, What Matters Most. It's his 5th studio album. Of course, Ben Folds his solo stuff is separate from the stuff he did with Ben Folds 5. This is his first album since 2015. He's already released 3 singles off it. This is I'm with Ben Folds. I'm actually more of a fan of the Ben Folds 5 stuff than his solo album, or his solo stuff, but I'll definitely at least stream that one and check it out. It's only going to run you $30 online if you're interested in that album. I know a couple of my friends are actually really big Ben Folds fans, so I definitely know that there are people out there wanting to pick that up this week. It's going to be a big release, I think. Another big release this week, this is Black Sabbath Live Evil. First released back in 1982. This is newly remastered for the 40th anniversary, which I know 40th anniversary was actually last year, but it got pushed back to this year. So this super deluxe version is going to run you $83 online. This is actually a really good show. Even though I'm not a huge fan of this particular release of it, it's a good mix of some Dio stuff with some Ozzy stuff. It's a good mixture that the Black Sabbath does in this show. This was recorded during the 1982 Mob Rules tour. They did I don't think it was one particular show. I think there was just a collection of tracks that they did during that tour. So this comes with a 40-page book, and this is also available on a CD box set. It's going to run you about $60 online. It's not a huge difference between that CD version and the vinyl version. My issue with this is that they're packaging the same album twice in a box set, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I know the band wasn't, that they weren't very fond of the original mix of this album. This box set comes with the original mix, and then it comes with this new remix also. So you're getting the same album twice in a box set, which doesn't make any sense to me. Just release it as 2 separate releases. A $40 gatefold original mix, and then a $40 gatefold for the remix version of it. I probably would have been more likely to pick up one of those releases rather than this box set, but I don't know. If I can grab the box set for a good price down the road, maybe I'll grab that. So you got that coming out this week. You've also got Ghost Prequelle coming out. This was released in 2018. Ghost's 4th studio album. It's going to be on Tangerine vinyl. This is going to run you about $26 online. This is I've always loved this album since I have gotten more into Ghost, I'd say, over the past probably year and a half. And the first time I heard this album, I was kind of blown away by it. I would say between this, Impera, and probably Meliora are my top 3 Ghost albums. I think all 3 of those are kind of interchangeable as which one is my favorite. But this was the first album that was released after it was confirmed that Tobias Forge was actually the lead singer of Ghost. There was some kind of question about who the lead singer was prior to that. Like I said, the Ghost is kind of funny when they create a lot of this backstory stuff with a lot of their albums. If you're not really all that familiar with Ghost and some of the stuff they've done, you can go on Wikipedia and look up all their history and all that stuff. But it is a really good album. It's definitely one I'm looking forward to grabbing this week. Another new album that I had on pre-order as soon as it was announced comes out this week. This is Rancid, Tomorrow Never Comes. It is their 10th studio album. There's a couple of different variants of this that are going to be available. I know there's a black version. I think there's an indie exclusive, like an eco mix or something like that, indie exclusive version. There's also a yellow version. I pre-ordered the yellow version from Rancid's website. It's going to run you about $24 online. I'm a huge Rancid fan. I've loved Rancid since the first time I listened to And Out Come the Wolves, and when was that, probably like late 95 or something like that. Love the band. But their last couple of albums, I think, have been kind of down for me. So I kind of, like I said, when this album was announced, I contemplated whether or not I was going to pre-order it. Because, like I said, it's only $24. I think it's a good price for a new release. I decided to grab it. Hopefully it lives up to some of those older Rancid albums. But so I'm looking forward to that one this week. You've also got Dropkick Murphys, The Meanest of Times, being reissued. This was released back in 2007. It was their 6th studio album. It's kind of a concept album for Dropkick Murphys. There's like themes of like family and like remembering where you come from, things like that throughout the entire album. It's this is another one of those albums where it's not my favorite album from Dropkick Murphys, but it's definitely one worth picking up and listening to. It's going to run you about $28 online if you're interested in it. So we're starting to see more of those RSD firsts from last year finally get reissued. This week you get Alkaline Trio, From Here to Infirmary, coming out. First released back in 2001. It was their 3rd studio album. So the RSD title last year was on red and black splatter. Looked really cool. I've got a copy of it. This one's just on black vinyl. It's going to run you about $23 online. This is a really, really underrated early 2000s pop punk album, and one that if you like that kind of music, if you're a Blink fan, if you're a Sum 41 fan, and you haven't listened to From Here to Infirmary, make sure you check that out because it is a really good album. Speaking of Blink, they are reissuing Buddha this week. First released back in 1994. It was actually reissued in 1998 by Kung Fu Records. I think they're trying to capitalize on the popularity of Dude Ranch. So this is going to run you about $30 online. This is a demo album. Keep that in mind. This is on blue and red splatter vinyl. And, there's been a bunch of variants released of this over the years. I think I've got a green copy of it, I think. I don't know. There's been like multicolored versions and splatter versions. It seems like this thing gets reissued like every other year, it seems like. But, I've got a couple of copies of it, so I'm going to pass on this one. This week you get a deluxe version of the debut album from the Allman Brothers Band coming out. This was released back in 1969. This was the album that really kind of started the whole Southern rock movement. You had bands like Lynyrd Skynyrd, Eagles, things like that had a really kind of similar sound that would gain a lot of popularity over the next couple of years after this album came out. But this is going to run you about $42 online. The funny thing is about this album, and this is the thing that kind of gets me about the way records are marketed in 2023, is this is billed as a deluxe version. There's nothing deluxe about this. All it comes is it's just a gatefold release. I know Red Hot Chili Peppers did, I think the 2 albums that they had come out last year, they both did deluxe versions of that also, where it was just a gatefold. If you're charging $40+ for a release, it really should come in a gatefold. I don't know why they have to kind of build it up as a deluxe version. They probably, because it's deluxe, they probably add $3 or $4 onto the price. So it's a good album. It's probably not one I'm going to spend $40 on. I'm good streaming that one. I think I've got it on CD also. So, but it is a good album. I will say that there is, before I go on to the next album, there was a deluxe version of this album that was released in 2016. This is different from that deluxe version. The 2016 deluxe version included a couple of different mixes of this album. This album is just the straight standard release that's been reissued several times over the years. So kind of keep that in mind. If you hear deluxe and you think it's the 2016 version, this is not. This is just a standard 2 LP release. But actually, I don't even know if it's 2 LPs. It might be 1 LP. I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back and take a look at that one. But don't be confused between those 2 releases. And then you've also got Avenged Sevenfold releasing their new album this week. This is Life Is But a Dream. It's their 8th studio album. There's a couple different versions of this available also. There's a black version and a purple version. I'll put links down below in the description for both of those if you want to pick one up. But both of those are going to run you about $40. I think there is an indie exclusive version of this also. I was going through my local record store's website. I could have swore there was a indie exclusive version of this. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm getting this album confused with another one. But this is their first album since 2016. It was their longest gap in their career between releasing albums. So it's one I'm definitely going to stream and check out this week. A couple really great jazz releases coming out this week. The first one, this is Charles Mingus, Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. First released back in 1963. It's going to run you about $33 online. This is very much a different kind of jazz album if you're unfamiliar with it. It's built like a classical album. It's a lot of blending of, I'd say, classical and jazz music in this one. I think there's a 10-piece band that Mingus plays with on this album. And it's all one piece. The album is all one piece of music spread out over 4 tracks, 6 movements. And like I said, it's very different if you're unfamiliar with what this album is, if you've never listened to it before. It's built different. It's not built like a standard jazz release. In my opinion, it's one of the top 100 albums ever recorded. I love this album. I don't actually own a copy of it. I should probably pick up a copy this week. This is another one of those, deluxe releases, though, where it's listed as a deluxe release. The only thing deluxe on it is just the gatefold. So kind of keep that in mind if you're interested in that one. And then the next one is actually an RSD Black Friday release that's getting reissued this week. This is Thelonious Monk, the classic quartet. It's going to run you about $27 online. Released in 1963 as Thelonious Monk, 1963 Japan. It's been released a bunch of different times over the years by several different labels, and it's had several different names also. But I think this is just on black vinyl. The RSD release last year was on blue, if memory serves me correct. I've got it. Actually, this is one of those the releases for Black Friday last year that I couldn't get on Black Friday. I ended up having to get this online, and I got it at regular retail price, so it's not like I paid a lot for it. But it's a great album if you're looking to pick this one up. This is the mono mix remastered by Bernie Grundman. Sounds absolutely fantastic. If you're a jazz fan, if you're a Thelonious Monk fan, this is definitely one you got to have. So De La Soul has been reissuing their catalog over the last couple of months. You got another release coming out this week. This is Stakes is High, first released back in 1996. It was their 4th studio album. This is an album that, be completely honest with, I'm not really familiar with. I've listened to the first 2 De La Soul albums. I know I've listened to their first album. I'm pretty sure I listened to their second album. Haven't really listened to anything past that. This sounds like a really fascinating album, though, from all the stuff I've read about it online. It really kind of sounds like the album centers around what De La Soul felt was like where rap music had like lost its artistic touch in the early part of the 90s. Like I said, I think it's really interesting. I'm definitely going to stream that one and check it out. It's going to run you about $35 online if you are interested in that one. And then the last one on the list, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I had to have this one. The last one is Roger Waters, The Lockdown Sessions. This was released November of last year digitally. It's available on vinyl now for the first time. This is going to run you about $25 online. This is a compilation of 6 tracks that he recorded during the 2020 lockdowns in his home studio. It's you're familiar with most of these tracks if you're a Pink Floyd fan. You got songs off of The Wall. You got songs off of The Final Cut, and I think there's one track off of Amused to Death also, which is also a great Roger Waters album. This also includes the reimagined version of Comfortably Numb that was included in the This Is Not a Drill tour last year. I really love this version of Comfortably Numb. Obviously, it's not as great as the original. It's a very different, like more subdued track if you're unfamiliar with it. This is all available on streaming. You can always go on there and check it out. But this is one that I've been waiting to get my hands on this one. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. I think it's going to be a great week for vinyl releases. There's about 500 albums coming out. I only talked about 14, so make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what else you're looking forward to picking up this week. But I'm definitely, like I said, I already got that Roger Waters on pre-order. I got Rancid on pre-order. I got Ghost on pre-order. I got that Foo Fighters on pre-order. I might pick up that Black Sabbath release. I might grab that Charles Mingus release. A lot of great stuff that I'm really looking forward to this week. But let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.